One must be careful while practicing deception. The easiest to deceive will always be one's self. When you read a sentence like that, doesn't that make you want to pick up whatever the piece of literature is that came up with this? That's what I did. And today I'm going to be talking about a book that I recently read and loved called 6 Moons and 7 Gods by Robert A. Walker. If you're a Game of Thrones fan because of the complex characters and the way the story is told in the books, then you are going to love 6 Moons and 7 Gods as well, because I'm somebody who has been waiting for George R.R. Martin to finish writing all the books, because I love complex fantasy novels. It's not just about the wars, it's not just about the characters, it's about a story that is not told in a linear manner, and also the way the characters are not just sidekicks but also the protagonist of their own story. I love how those different pieces come together, and that is exactly what I found in this book too. To give you a little bit of background about what this book is entirely about, it has assassins, it has a mystical land, prophecies, epic battles, and it is so interesting to read about. But let me tell you a little bit about what I liked about this book and what I didn't like about this book. The first thing is that this book is set in the land of Baelon, which is a mystical land which has prophecies, it has magic, it has that intrigue, it has warring factions, and it has epic adventures. So the premise of the book is very interesting to begin with, and as soon as we start reading about the story, the writer has a way with words in which he describes that entire place so beautifully that I can imagine it in my head. And what's happening is that there is a group of people who want to overthrow the kingdom, and they require the help of assassins to do it. Yes, this book has assassins in it. Interesting, right? It has prophecies, it has magic, it has warring factions, it has politics, and it has that intense kind of atmosphere which, when you read a fantasy novel and you're thrust right into something that's already pretty heated, it feels incredible to read about. And that's how you get into reading 6 Moons and 7 Gods, because as soon as you start reading, you start uncovering this incredible world, this magical world which has different kind of creatures, adventures, battles, epic battles. And when I started reading this book, it comes up with multiple perspectives of diverse characters, and each one has this unique personality that I loved reading about. I especially liked Sybil's and Mari's character, but as you're reading the book, your alliances are shifting as well. Like when you find out more about a character, you feel more sympathetic to it, but when there's a huge plot twist, then of course you go back to not liking the same character, and it's like a huge reveal. So the complexity of characters and the fact that all of these people had their own stories going on, like an entire life that they were living, and how it contributed well to the main story plot, it was very entertaining to read about. And this is the kind of book that always keeps you on edge. There is a battle happening, there are like political things happening with people betraying others, with some factions trying to overthrow the others, and there's just like so much happening at the same time that you're always on the edge, and the intrigue keeps building up, so you keep flipping the pages and you keep reading it. I like that kind of fast-paced storytelling, but also it doesn't get like too confusing as well. I mean, I have that problem with some of the fantasy novels in which so much is happening at the same time and you can't keep up. With this book, I think because of the diverse perspectives and also the way it is told is such that you are able to keep up with the stories, and it has that like shock and awe factor in multiple chapters where like I did not see this coming. One thing I really liked is that the author is descriptive enough for the book to capture my attention, but it's not like too descriptive for it to be boring and for me to have to like skip a couple of pages just to get past the description of a forest somewhere. So the writing is actually very to the point, but it has that prose-like quality that it leaves an impression on you. Like I just told you in the beginning of the video, that one sentence that just captures your attention and you're like, I want to know more about this. You have that happening throughout the book with these different kinds of sentences that just like leave an impression on your mind. And with that kind of lyrical writing, the story becomes even more impactful. If you like watching those medieval dramas in which so much happens behind closed doors and it is only in the later part of the story that the secrets are revealed, then also you will like this book, because it has that similar kind of charm, that medieval charm that exists, and yet the true motivations of some of the central characters and the secrets that they're keeping, it gets revealed in the later parts of the story, and it is like, it's really good, I must tell you. And some things that I feel could have been improved would be that in some areas I felt like, because the author wanted to create that surprise, there were some activities that felt like they weren't they didn't fit well with the character's story, the character's arc. Like there were some aspects in between in which I was like, this is great for its shock value, but I just don't see how this fits well with the character arc. And those are the things I feel like the author must have a vision, and if this is a series, then he must, work on it and build on it and have a sufficient reason for it. But in that moment, I was like not only surprised but a bit unnerved by it. Overall, if you're interested in a story in which the lives of different characters intersect in interesting ways, and you're looking for a book that lies somewhere in the spectrum between Outlander and Game of Thrones, then Six Moons and Seven Gods is a book that you should pick up. 3 convincing reasons, if I had to boil it down to that, it would be: 1, very, very compelling storytelling; 2, strong characters and interesting characters; and 3, complexity of the plot. All 3 reasons fit in well together to make this into an interesting book, and I'm sure if you pick it up, you won't regret it. I will leave the Amazon link of this book in the description below, and you can go check it out. Check out other reviews as well, and I will keep coming back with more book suggestions for you.